There was a point early in my reading of City of Last Chances that I nearly put the book down and moved on to something else. It wasn't that I didn't know what was going on, but I didn't know why I should care. The writing is solid, the setting, or what some people would call world building, is interesting, but dozens of characters are introduced without much indication as to which, if any of them, would be important. I was about 50 pages in, and wondering if it was worth continuing. After some reflection, I developed a theory that perhaps City of Last Chances was not structured like most fantasy novels. With this idea in mind, the book opened up for me in a way I had not previously considered, and I enjoyed the rest of the book immensely. Now, this novel has plenty of fantasy elements: magic, ghosts, demons, monsters, curses, a forest that can transport people to distant lands, and so on. In its structure, however, the novel has much more in common with something like A Tale of Two Cities, or Bleak House by Charles Dickens, or Lush Life by Richard Price, or The Human Comedy by Honoré de Balzac, or just about any season of The Wire. Effectively, we get a view of every level of the city of Ilmar, from homeless outcasts to gangsters to refugees to industrial workers to college students to dispossessed nobility to nouveau riche to current foreign occupiers controlling the city, and everything in between. This broad scope is reinforced by having most chapters told from different third-person limited points of view, with some recurring narrative voices, but a few chapters are in third-person omniscient. This authorial choice certainly gives the reader insight into how people all throughout the society act and react to the tremors of the plot, and we get the chance to see some characters both from their own perspectives and how they are seen by others. The technique provides a lot of insight into the motivations and reasoning of many characters. An associated potential stumbling block, as I alluded to previously, is that the cast of characters is larger than the population of most small towns, and in some sense there are no minor characters. Yet some only appear intermittently over the course of the whole novel. Some are only tangentially related to the events of the story, and if you get attached to a particular character, you may have a significant wait until they re-enter the story. This isn't too far off from one of the criticisms leveled at the Witcher book series, where, especially in the early novels, the Witcher Geralt seems sidelined in the books that are ostensibly about him. The plot and major theme of City of Last Chances are closely related and can be summed up with the phrase, unintended consequences. The main action of the book stems from someone stealing something they don't really understand, leading to the death of one of the leaders of the occupation. A crackdown begins, but it also produces unintended consequences when the college students, roused with patriotic fervor, and unionized factory workers, unwilling to endure the same oppression under new leaders, begin an open protest, which produces more unintended consequences. Near the halfway point of the novel, a character says, "You can't control the ripples once you've thrown the stone. You can only choose not to throw the stone." He is speaking about his own situation, but his statement could be applied to the whole novel. Events can take on a life of their own, and like Ambassador Kosh says in Babylon 5, the avalanche has already started. It is too late for the pebbles to vote. On a related note, this examination of a chain of action resulting from unintended consequences is a tacit rejection of the whole social philosophy of the occupying Palestine, who, like all authoritarians, believe in their ability to bring order and perfection to everyone under their dominion, whether they want it or not. The smaller character arcs have this same preoccupation with unintended consequences. Ruslov, a street thug and opportunist, is unexpectedly affected by a painting and begins questioning his life. Yasnik, a beggar and the last priest of a pacifist god of healing, performs a miracle and finds his life totally upended. Ostrovar, a respected professor at the university, has been filling the heads of his students with jingoistic propaganda he doesn't believe, but spouts because it sounds passionate and idealistic. But he's stunned when he's thrust into leading a protest because it turns out his students and some of his peers do believe the things he's been saying. Each life is an echo of the events of the city in miniature. It should be noted, Ilmar exists in an early industrial epoch, but instead of steam engines or internal combustion, everything is fueled by decanted magic. Textile looms are powered by contractually enslaved demons. Defense batons consume arcane batteries to shoot magic bullets, and so on. City of Last Chances exists in such a strange place that it's difficult to say what else is like it. I'm not even sure how much a resemblance it has to Tchaikovsky's other novels. As I pointed out before, it has structural and sometimes tonal similarities to novels like those by Dickens or Tolstoy that seem to include the whole world within their pages. If you're a fantasy fan who enjoys the novels of Joe Abercrombie, particularly his Age of Madness trilogy, or Sapkowski's Witcher novels, I certainly recommend at least giving this novel a try. Also, if you tend to enjoy the philosophical and speculative atmosphere of a lot of Ursula Le Guin's fiction, this might be a book for you. The same holds true if you like the video games Disco Elysium or The Thaumaturge. Have you read City of Last Chances? What are your thoughts on it? Is it too wide-ranging and philosophical for your tastes? Or does it turn out to be something you didn't even know you wanted? Are you a fan of Tchaikovsky's other books? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my peculiar notions. If you appreciate this channel and want to support it, you know what to do. You can also take a moment to like, comment, share, or subscribe to the channel of another YouTube creator you enjoy, because like all tyrants, the YouTube algorithm is only interested in things it can see and control, and what it can't control, it buries. Until next time, read some good books, live, and be well.